So, a lot of wild stuff going on out there in the world right now. I'm gonna pull some cards about it. I know everybody's having feelings about it. A lot of shifting energy. So, from what I am aware of, we have Mars still in retrograde in Cancer. We have Pluto in Aquarius. We have Aquarius season just beginning. The moon is actually in Scorpio today. North node in Pisces, south node in Virgo, Uranus retrograde in Taurus, and Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. And we have all of these planetary bodies aligning. They're close to Earth right now, so they've been saying out there you can just see them more clearly anyways. But also something particularly to note, I'm sure you guys are tapping into the energy, just seeing what is going on, all of the crazy changes with social media, the weird glitches, the weird following people that you absolutely for sure would have never chosen to follow on different platforms. Censorship on a different level now on TikTok. A lot of stuff, a lot of weird stuff. So, yes, a lot of crazy stuff. So, we're going to light a Palo Santo candle. It is a weird time, y'all. But this is one of those things where it is kind of a prophesied kind of situation going on. And I really feel like the purpose of this is ultimately to bring the shadow into the light. Because with all of the opposing forces, opposing energies, the very black and white sides of everything that's being pushed to the front, a lot of people's true colors are showing. You know, whether it's people out there being exposed or people you know being exposed. Oh, hey, Raphael, that's Raphael, huh? User 3245678. Okay. So, of course, with the turbulence of what's happening in the world at large, everyone on an individual level is having their own shifts and turbulence. I've seen the Tower card a couple of times in the last few days, so I'm like, all right. And this doesn't necessarily have to be externally. This can also be internally. This could be, you know, walls coming down internally that have blocked you from really understanding what's going on in your reality. There's a huge theme, right? Pisces is like illusions. There's a lot of illusions that we've been living inside of. And at the same time, having these deep intuitive insights, of course. Yeah, yep. So that we can see through what the illusions are and kind of even understand what was I thinking was going on and where was it coming from? What was the root of why I thought this is what I was doing? Why I thought this is the energy I'm moving with? Okay. So, we have our favorite. It's come out a lot in the last week. 2 weeks, actually. 8 of Water, stagnation. So this is calling us out to do more emotional release and emotional regulation. Whatever that looks like for you. However, it is paired with... So I've seen the Tower card and I've seen the Death card. So in Original Tarot, this transformation... 13 is the number of transformation. It's also associated with Pluto, with Scorpio, which today we have Moon in Scorpio. We have the Pluto in Aquarius. We're in Aquarius season now. So the Sun and Pluto are aligning. So big like shadow energy being revealed. Yeah. Wow, just look at how fierce. It's a beautiful card. Whew. So this is a major arcana card, meaning this is a big shift in our life that's happening. There are things that are dying for good. There are things that we've been working on getting rid of, working on letting go. And this is telling me, especially with this Plutonian energy so strong, it has a lot to do with our emotional regulation. It has a lot to do with emotion that we're holding on to, whether deeply subconsciously, which most likely it is very subconscious. Because again, Pluto and Scorpio energy, very deep. If you can imagine just like the depth of the ocean, like all the way down where we haven't even yet discovered, that's the vibe this is giving. So I'm also feeling like it is a generational thing as well. Generational patterns. This is like what you're working on right now. Not even your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents got to this point with their own emotional regulation, with their own knowing of themselves. There was so many deep layers that they just carried on and passed on to us. And it is our responsibility to acknowledge that and to know that we're completely transforming this part of our DNA, this part of our subconscious mind. A lot of this has to do with subconscious reprogramming work that has been worked on. But this will continue to weigh heavy on you if you do not address it. So the two cards that came out for the best way to address it, love this. So this is like top of water energy, top of air energy. So this is literally like, what are the light energy, grounded, evolved version of Aquarius energy, grounded, evolved version of Scorpio energy, right? So even with that, Aquarius is the water bearer. So even though Aquarius is an air sign, I always see it as kind of an air water sign, because Aquarians use logic to support causes they believe in. So there's a level of deep emotion that they just don't express in an emotive way. It's usually expressed by sharing logic, sharing solutions, and they can come off really dry. But it's always coming from a very emotionally tuned in place. It's just, they just don't express that way. So to me, this is talking about Mother of Air is very like knowing how to balance your intuition. I'm pretty sure this combo came out a few days ago. I'm almost confident. Knowing how to balance your intuitive insights and logic at the same time, right? So this intuitive message comes in, maybe comes in symbolically, and then you kind of use your logic to decipher, and you tap in with your emotion, but you don't let it run wild. It's not chaotic. It's very grounded. It's very strong. It's very mature. So the mature, grounded version of Scorpio energy is actually very masculine. It's actually very powerful, very strong, but it has a very strong feminine base. So if Scorpio energy is mature, there's acceptance, there's consistent emotional regulation, there's commitment to growth, there's commitment to thinking outside of the box, there's commitment to, and it's a fixed energy, right? So there's a level of masculinity of like, you know, there can be consistency, there can be groundedness. However, that can be translated into, you know, if we're looking at more little boy energy, being stuck in your mind loops, being stuck in your emotions, and being rigid about how you feel about something and how to handle it, versus being open to how to handle it, but also being able to be fixed in the way of, I know that this needs to be addressed. I'm feeling this kind of way, and I know that the mature thing to do is to admit that I need to figure this out, admit that I need support, admit that I need help, and then set things up. Because once Scorpio energy, especially within someone who has a very strong masculine vibe, is extremely powerful. And I love that we have this coming out, transformation coming out, just very, very strong Plutonian Scorpio energy for today. We can really use this to our advantage if we make the decision to utilize our masculine energy to hold space for our very real, very strong, very passionate and intense emotional internal world. Because that's what Father of Water is giving. It's giving a strong, grounded masculine who is also nurturing and warm and can hold space all day for you, because they have allowed their own depths. They have held space for themselves to go there. So there's no judgment, and there's a nurturing energy. And on the other side, when we're thinking about air energy being naturally a masculine element, right? Left brain, logic, but bringing this nurturing energy of connecting it with your intuition, with womb energy, which I have actually recently been tuning into the womb chakra. So I've been learning from different healers about the womb chakra is like right there with your sacral chakra, and that both males and females have this. And this would also, like, this can really go deep into, you know, with individuals who are non-binary and two-spirit like myself. So this is really giving that strong finding the balance energy and really utilizing the Plutonian Aquarius mixture that's going on right now. So very much so using this also for innovation. So I'm hearing, like, in our lives right now, there needs to be a lot of innovation. There needs to be a lot of thinking outside the box, because whatever's been working thus far has been slowly on its way out. And it could become an abrupt thing if we're not addressing right now, okay, what needs to happen for this to really be solved, for this to really even be moving in a forward direction. Because what was happening, there was a stagnancy, there was a stuckness. So even though there's a portion of us who just, you know, maybe didn't commit to the emotional regulation consistently, there was also a heaviness of, like, where you were absolutely did not nurture you doing that either. So the environment change, friend change, circumstances change, different opportunities coming in. I really feel like a lot of us have been going through this big shift so that we can refine these energies and just be honest, right? Be honest about what we really want, where we want to go, and the fact that we most likely absolutely need to do something we've never done before, open our minds and think in a way that we haven't before. And this is a part of the transformation. And I almost even feel like we have a lot of emotion around how hard we work to be the person, including parts of ourselves that we don't actually want there anymore, and we don't actually need and are actually a block for us now. We need to let them go. But we have feelings about how hard we worked and everything we did to become that person, that version of ourselves, that we don't even ultimately want to be. So it's like, you know, I get it, but that's that Scorpio energy. That's that, well, I gave everything for this, and, like, kind of being stuck just for the sake of, like, I made this happen. Like, okay, you know, what is that really doing for you at this moment? And in between all of this, 8 of Fire insight. So again, 8 is the number of personal power, empowerment. Ooh. So I'm definitely feeling like amongst this, there's a strong awareness, there's a strong clarity around where we're at in this journey and what needs to happen. And a lot of it does have to do with just letting go and shedding the layers of, like, what we thought we had to be just to, like, survive, and how so much of this life is really not about survival. So there's a portion that's about gratitude, and there's also a portion that's about you are just really coming from a place of, like, what was passed on to you, whether it was your direct parents or whoever raised you and how they taught you to be, and or generational programming, like ancestral programming. Okay, I do feel called to read this 8 of Fire insight. Insight, a light goes on, seeing through, quick assessment of a situation, productive communications, effortless sharing, spontaneous changes, moving on. Much is becoming clear to you now. Your inner channels are open, enabling you to speak from your heart. On a personal level, you are in a position to clear up an important matter. Since you have nothing to hide or protect, you can share your insights lovingly. Clear ideas and practical suggestions will move what has long been stagnant in the right direction. That word again, stagnant. Ugh. If you don't insist on your own vision, but dare to see through the eyes of everyone involved, an agreement will be reached rapidly. It doesn't matter who comes up with the best idea. What counts is that the matter gets resolved to the benefit of all. So this is also giving me, which is also typically associated with Scorpio, this lone wolf energy of trying to do everything by yourself all the time. And the basis of that is fear. So it comes off like, oh, you're mean, you're cutting people out, you're not community oriented, you have an attitude, you're ungrateful, you're controlling. All those things are true, and also it's coming from something going on internally that has to do with this energy that you're holding onto, this weight, this bitterness even, this resentment around you making the decision to become something that you thought you needed to be. So again, even if it was influenced by other people's opinions, it was still your choice. So all day, every day, we can acknowledge like the powers that be and the not monologues, what's the word? And the narratives that are always being pushed to the front, and perspectives, etc., right? A lot of it based in lies, based in leading you towards a certain agenda to make somebody else more money, whatever. Even though we know that's going on, and we're, as a collective and community, we've been figuring out different ways to address that. However, you still are your own sovereign power, and it's nobody else's fault. This is kind of like, you know, the 60-year-old who still lives in his mom's basement. Well, my mom didn't do XYZ. Okay, but you're grown, like, you know? At some point, whenever you decide is the time, will be the time for you to move on with your life and decide what you want it to be by taking action in that direction. So this is giving me that more of a clarity around, we need each other. Like, we're here as a community on purpose for a reason, and that is a part of self-empowerment. A big part of self-empowerment is acknowledging when you need help, when you need support, and when it makes sense to bounce your ideas off of other people, to collaborate with other people. And even if you're the leader of the project, or you're the leader of the situation, and you're the one that's going to have the final say, it doesn't mean that you needed to have come up with every single detail of the whole plan from beginning to end. Like, for what? You know, like, for what? Just to say that you did? No. Ultimately, I really think it comes from that place of control again. Like, well, if there's anything that goes wrong, I can blame myself and I'll just figure it out because it'll ultimately be just my fault. But then we get other people involved, we get our feelings hurt, and we're like, I can't trust you, and it becomes a whole drama. It's giving Scorpio Plutonian energy. So this is really talking about more the fire side, right? Because Pluto and Mars rule Scorpio. So I'm feeling this like Mars, which is in retrograde right now in Cancer, also water energy. We have so much water energy going on. And it's amazing because it's really pushing a lot of suppressed stuff up to the front to be released and let go of. And having these mature perspectives and mindsets is really what's going to help you move through it without taking it too seriously to the point where you fall back into the loop. But I really don't see that happening for those of you guys that are resonating with this. I feel like this is the biggest thing right in the middle, is like, there is such a strong awareness around this. There's so much work that has been done. You guys have really been working really diligently on this, on your shadow work, on your light work, on finding the balance and the harmony between everything. Yeah, so whatever it is that's going on externally, a lot of us are being very triggered right now because of what's going on in the US with social media, censorship, etc. Aquarius energy and Plutonian energy really do not with censorship. They're like, what for what? So I definitely, like I was pulling yesterday, there was a strong like revolution energy card, like the need to be free of the system. So I feel a lot of us wanting to become strategic about that, but first we need to release this energy. We need to get smart about our emotional regulation because we're human. We can't walk around suppressing everything and acting like we're fine until it blows up, and we can't walk around being a mess constantly because we don't make time to just address it and hold space for it. So yeah, y'all, do that emotional regulation. Stay committed, and also acknowledge that what's really going to create the long-lasting transformation that came up, that death card, to really let go of these parts of yourself, these old emotions, these old patterns, is gonna be the consistency. It's gonna be the mature perspective. No matter what you feel like you want in a moment, really pausing for a second, not doing anything impulsively, right? Father of water, let me pause, let me take deep breaths, let me notice how I'm feeling, let me address that, let me accept whatever it is that I'm feeling, let me not judge it. And then moving into that mother of air energy. Okay, so now that I've addressed the truth of how I feel, I've given myself space to hold that and to release it. Now, what can I logically do and balance between that and intuition, acknowledging what I feel. So maybe not going right back into the situation that, drove me crazy, but what can I do now so that there is a better balance? So we're in a great place to more fully embody what a lot of us have been wanting to fully embody anyways. Essentially, this is what a lot of us have been asking for, and it's like, we're here now. So what are you going to do with what you've been given?